All right, $20,000 portal axles, 37-inch 1350 tires. How did we get this to fit on our 6th Gen 4Runner? We were crazy enough to do it. Let's show you how we did it. All right, so let's talk numbers and specifics here. This is a 2025 4Runner. Wheels, we have the Black Rhino Fuji wheel. This is a 17 by 8-inch wheel. It's a positive 38 millimeter offset. So we'll talk about that and why we needed such a positive offset, but that's the configuration of this Black Rhino wheel. Tires, we have the Toyo RT Pros, which is an awesome tire. It's a brand new tire from Toyo. Really awesome tread design. This is a 37-inch by 13.5 width tire. So this is a beast, especially for a 4Runner. I mean, as far as putting this size of tire on a 4Runner, you don't see that very often at all. What we did suspension-wise to make this all come together is we put 74 weld portal axles on. So the portal axles, that's a big upgrade. Like I mentioned, $20,000 to buy the portals and get them installed and put on this vehicle. But what the portal axle does, it actually raises your center of gravity a little bit, and you get more clearance with gear reduction, and that's what allows us to fit this 37-inch tire. Suspension-wise, we've got Peak Suspensions, 2.5-inch remote reservoir, dual speed control shocks. So it's a standard coilover, fully adjustable, fast and slow speeds, and we also have their upper control arms. That's the specifications for this entire setup here. As far as fitment goes, you know, tire is pushed out because of the portal axles. I think it's around 3.5 inches wider is what it creates as far as the width because of the portal axle. So that's why we're using a positive 38 millimeter offset wheel. And that's to try to bring that wheel back in so we're a little more within reason as far as the fitment and the stance as you look down the side of this vehicle. The tire is a 1350. Because you get so much ground clearance because of the portal axles, a normal 1250 tire just looks too narrow in my opinion. It just looks like a pizza cutter tire. The 1350 gives it that kind of beastie look, and it's wide enough that it matches the stance of the vehicle. As far as clearance and everything on the front, because we put our new CBI full plate bumper on, we didn't really have any clearance issues on the front. We did have to worry a little bit here on this back corner where the body comes down just in front of where the mud flap was, the factory mud flap. So we did just a little trimming right here, and then we just pull this fender liner back a little bit. But clearance is pretty decent on the front. We're gonna check it out in kind of extreme off-road situations a little further. I think we're definitely gonna get into the flare a little bit here. There are some clearances made there, but that's an area that we may have to address a little bit. But overall, that's the fitment on the front. Pretty straightforward for such a massive tire on a new 4Runner. But let's go to the back. Let me show you what we're running into on the back and kind of what the setup and configuration is here. So again, same wheel tire configuration and all of that, same suspension. What we're dealing with here on the back is this tire actually, as it articulates and flexes into the wheel well, it's too close to the fender flare and to the body panel down here. So that's where we get rubbing going on. We have some extended Timbren bump stops right now to try to limit that up travel a certain amount. I feel like the bump stop, although it's helping with limiting that travel, I feel like it's limiting the travel too much. So we need to make some changes there and dial that in. And then the other thing is we really need to get this tire centered better in this wheel well so that as we articulate, the tire is articulating as straight as possible up and down, and it's not going forward, you know, as it articulates. How we're gonna do that is with adjustable trailing arms. The lower and upper trailing arms need to be adjustable. we need to move this tire back so that we stay out of this piece right here. This piece really is what's taking a lot of abuse right now. This is a plastic body piece, it bolts on, and eventually we're just gonna bust that off. The other thing is we start to get into the fender flare here and the inner wheel liner. So that additional positioning and adjustment that we would get from the adjustable trailing arms, that's kind of the tweak that we've got to make here on the rear so that we can get full articulation without, you know, damage and rubbing on this this fender flare here. There is enough space, I believe, to center it here. Hopefully we don't start getting rubbing on the back. That's something that we're gonna have to dial in. And then also the bump stop. We wanna get that bump stop dialed in just right so we're maximizing articulation on the suspension and not limiting it where we don't need to. So that's the setup right now. Pretty amazing actually with these portal axles to be able to get a 37 1350 tire on a 6th generation 4Runner. I mean, I've never seen that. We struggled with 35s. We had to do so much trimming and modification front and back on the 5th generation 4Runner just to fit a 35-inch tire, let alone a 37 on that. Pretty solid setup, but be sure and follow along. Check out this build as we continue to fine-tune the suspension and put this thing through the paces.